Hello! I just wanted to start this video off by saying thank you so much for almost 200 subscribers. Hi, I'm actually editing this video right now, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for over 200 subscribers. I just don't have any words. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I absolutely cannot believe how many people actually enjoy my content, and I'm really grateful for all of you. I hope I can keep making good content for you. Also, please keep in mind that this paper will inevitably have some mistakes as I'm only human. I wrote this as my final project for an independent study course at my school where I could choose whatever topic I wanted. American Girl dolls were my special interest when I was younger, and it's recently come back as my main special interest besides jelly cats. I'll leave a link to a Google Doc of this paper typed out in MLA format so you can look at my sources if you'd like. If you've never seen a video essay before, it's basically an essay but in video form, meaning it uses the power of video editing and visuals that go along with viewed media to enhance and support the author's argument. Anyway, introduction aside, let's get started.
Every girl has a story, like Caroline Abbott, the newest doll from American Girl. She's an everyday hero who stands up for what she believes in.
American Girl is a luxury toy brand best known for creating 18-inch dolls marketed to teach children ages 8 and up American history. Since its debut in 1986, the brand has made notable strides to foster inclusivity and diversity within its products, such as releasing boy dolls and dolls of different races and religious backgrounds. However, even with its recent efforts to enhance inclusivity and diversity in its products, American Girl continues to reinforce stereotypical gender roles regarding adolescent girls, lacks representation of marginalized groups, particularly in terms of ability, ethnicity, and race, and remains fundamentally driven by capitalist principles.
What a wonderful welcome, and what a wonderful day. I am so happy to be with all of you to celebrate the 25th anniversary of American Girl.
Created by educator and entrepreneur Pleasant Rowland, American Girl was originally known as Pleasant Company. According to Rowland, she felt frustrated with doll options while shopping for Christmas presents for her 2 nieces in 1984. Rowland found the 2 most popular dolls at the time ugly, calling Cabbage Patch Kids scrunchy vegetables, and finding Barbies too sexual for young girls. Earlier that same year, Rowland visited a living history museum in colonial Williamsburg and was immensely inspired by its historically accurate recreations. Driven by both the lack of dolls available for purchase and her previous visit to Williamsburg, Virginia, she created concepts for the first 3 dolls in a collection that could teach American history, moral and ethical values, and independence. From the beginning, she dreamed of including retail stores, musical theater programs, and girls' clothing to match their dolls. Despite the fact that it was a common belief that kids stopped playing with dolls after the age of 6, as well as the concept of an 18-inch doll was not well received, Rowland continued with her idea, funding Pleasant Company with her own $1.2 million saved from previous textbook royalties without any backers. In 1998, Pleasant Company was purchased by toy giant Mattel for $700 million. Under Mattel's management, Pleasant Company was renamed and rebranded as American Girl, and Rowland worked as the vice chairman of Mattel until she retired in 2000. Under Mattel, American Girl continued to focus on their historical characters while also creating products that highlighted contemporary girlhood, such as look-alike dolls and magazines for their adolescent consumers. However, despite American Girl's growth under Mattel, its products still reinforce potentially harmful stereotypical gender roles, particularly regarding young girls and women.
With new hair accessories like bright highlights, a braided headband, curly ponytail, and more. Only from American Girl. My American Girl doll comes as shown. Hair and other accessories sold separately.
American Girl's main focus is to create high-quality educational toys. Despite their educational focus, they are unfortunately not immune to reinforcing gender stereotypes and roles in their products, particularly within their books and doll accessories. However, this is not unique to American Girl. Vaughn states, "There are some toys on the market that speak to both the pink and blue parties like Little People, Lego, board games, and Play-Doh. The majority of toys reinforce traditional gender roles and expectations. A reference to normative femininity in their products includes not making a soapbox to go along with Rebecca, a Jewish American girl living in New York with a passion for justice and institutionalized and policy-based social change. Instead of including the soapbox she uses to perform a speech discussing fair pay, shorter workdays, and safer working conditions, American Girl sells Rebecca-related doll jewelry and a traditionally feminine bed with gold medallions and a white lace bedspread. In the books that go along with the doll, the girls representing the dolls are required to be submissive and pleasing to what their guardians expect of them, while simultaneously coping with often traumatic events, such as living through the Great Depression, seeking freedom after being born as an enslaved person, or healing from trauma after learning that 4 girls were killed in a bombing at their church nearby. For example, Samantha, a rich white girl living in New York, is expected to sit at home with her grandmother, acting like a proper young lady after just learning about her new neighbor, who is the same age and gender identity as her, who must work as a maid purely to survive. Her new friend Nellie also tells Samantha about the horrors of factories for the first time. Another example of this is when Samantha learns that one of her maids, Jessie, is forced to live in a segregated neighborhood. After she learns of this, Samantha has to continue on with her life pretending that she didn't just witness the horrors of racism and overall inequality for undoubtedly the first time in her life. "Why does Jessie live here?" Samantha asked. "This is the colored part of town," Nellie answered. "You mean Jessie has to live here?" Samantha asked. Nellie looked at her. Samantha was smart about so many things that Nellie was always surprised at what her friend didn't know. "Yes, of course," Nellie said. "Why?" asked Samantha. "I don't know," Nellie said. "It's just the way that grown-ups do things." Later in the book, however, Samantha blurts out to her grandmother that she and Nellie went to Jessie's house one night. In doing so, Samantha rebels against her ingrained expectations that she must behave in a ladylike manner, especially around her grandmother. Nellie and I went to her house at night. Samantha was sure that Grandmary would punish her now, but Grandmary looked more troubled than angry. "You were very wrong to do that, Samantha." "Well, you were very wrong not to tell me," Samantha answered. She was not feeling very respectful. Even in the American Girl retail stores, the activities of the stores can all be considered stereotypically feminine, such as shopping, dining in the cafe, and getting your doll's hair done, as well as their ears pierced. Despite this, American Girl's inclusion of gender roles and stereotypes can also be argued as an important thing, as their whole brand is based on the idea that girls are the same throughout history, even though culture changes, even though society changes. Girls are capable of so much, and they have been forever. It can also be argued that in a world made for cishet white men, having a company that's unequivocally dedicated to representation for girls, American Girl including sometimes stereotypical gender roles is not their biggest issue. Arguably, their biggest issue in many people's eyes is that the majority of their dolls are white and able-bodied.
This way you can choose one that looks most like you or one that you like the best.
With a company name like American Girl, a consumer undoubtedly pictures dolls representing girlhood in dozens of different ways, each unique to the doll and their character. While this is true to an extent, American Girl has its fair share of overwhelming whiteness and non-disabledness in its products. The company's original focus, their historical collection, originally had just 6 historically inspired dolls to choose from. Samantha, living in 1904, Molly, living in 1944, Kirsten, living in 1854, Felicity, living in 1774, Josefina, living in 1824, and Addie, living in 1864. Out of all 6 dolls mentioned, only 2 of the characters are characters of color. These 2 of the company's original 6 are Addie, a black girl born as an enslaved person who escapes to Philadelphia with her mother, and Josefina, a Latina girl growing up in New Mexico prior to its admission to the Union. After being purchased by Mattel in 1998, American Girl released Kaya, an indigenous girl growing up in 1764 in her Nez Perce tribe. Pre-colonization in 2002. Before creating Kaya, American Girl consulted the Nez Perce tribe to ask for permission to continue creating a character representing their tribe. After they got approval, they recruited an advisory board that guided every step of Kaya's creation. American Girl has released more dolls of color since 2002. However, half of them have since been retired, meaning they are no longer available for purchase directly from American Girl. Since 2002, they've released Rebecca, a Jewish American girl growing up in 1914, Ivy, an Asian American girl growing up in 1974, Cecile, a freeborn Creole girl growing up in 1853, and Claudie, a black girl growing up in 1922. As of 2023, Ivy and Cecile have both been retired, with Cecile only being available for purchase for a few years. Ivy was American Girl's only historical Asian American character, and she was unfortunately released as a side character, also known by American Girl as a best friend character, to their main 1970s white character. Since the retirement of Cecile and Ivy, American Girl has released 2 new black dolls: Melody, a black girl growing up in 1960s Detroit during the Civil Rights Movement, and Claudie, a black girl who lives in 1920s Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance. Under Mattel's ownership, American Girl has undoubtedly improved its diversity within products. However, people still feel like it's stereotypical to have 2/3 of their black dolls focus on black Americans' pain and oppression rather than joy. Before 2022, both of American Girl's black dolls focused on black oppression in America, such as Addie escaping from slavery in 1864 or Melody fighting during the Civil Rights Movement in 1964. While learning about black history is vital, consumers have voiced their dissatisfaction with American Girl's previous portrayals of black girls. As Zaslow writes, others argued that focusing on slavery, rather than a more hopeful period, such as the Harlem Renaissance, was stereotypical and, as previously the only African American doll in the collection, reduced the experiences of black Americans to oppression and pain, rather than the other more joyful experiences, such as community building and artistic collaboration. Also mentioned in Zaslow's book, Playing with America's Doll, is a quote by Britt Bennett, who later went on to write American Girl's newest black character, Claudie, a girl growing up in the Harlem Renaissance. Bennett says, "If you were a white girl who wanted a historical doll who looked like you can imagine yourself in Samantha's Victorian home with Kirsten weathering life on the prairie. If you were a black girl, you could only picture yourself as a runaway slave. She is a toy steeped in tragedy and who is offered tragedy during play." However, others argue that having a doll that represents the horrors of slavery is imperative for children. The author of Addie's series, Connie Porter, responded to Addie's critics. "Some people don't want to see a character in slavery. That's ridiculous. You can run the risk of being so politically correct that you can lose whole periods of history." Perhaps the most powerful argument is that Addie humanizes slavery for children, which is crucial since slavery, by definition, strips humanity away. Along with American Girl's complicated history regarding their representation of race and ethnicity is how little they have created dolls that represent disabilities. Within their historical line, only one doll, Mary Ellen, is recognized as disabled, as she had polio when she was younger. Even then, it's only briefly mentioned in her first book. In American Girl's Girl of the Year line, only 2 of their dozens of previous dolls are disabled: Gabriella, a black girl with a stutter, and Joss, a white girl who is deaf and uses hearing aids. Even with American Girl's vast selection of books and toys, the vast majority of them tend to focus on white, able-bodied girls. While they may not be the leader of discussions regarding race and how it intersects with gender, their contributions are likely to lead the children who consume their products to start their own conversations. Despite American Girl's recent inclusivity efforts, it can still be argued that their main goal is to make a profit in our capitalistic country. As a luxury toy brand, American Girl has been inaccessible to many individuals since its debut in 1986 due to its consistently high price tag. Susina discusses how the name American Girl's collection is telling. Of the key lessons learned from the series is the introduction of consumerism. This is unequivocally the case regarding American Girl as a whole. In 1993, the cost of a singular doll with its first paperback was $82. When compared to Barbies, generally costing anywhere from $10 to $17.99, it can understandably be hard to justify the purchase. The company previously offered both starter collections and complete the collections for each of the historical dolls, costing $295 and $995 respectively. To go along with each doll are a multitude of accessories and outfits, ranging from $16 to over $300, each of which represent important aspects of the character's stories. Even within American Girl's most affordable products, their books, one could argue that while teaching history to readers, they're also a vital way to advertise their products. Vaughn explains, "Even within the pages, the author has sprinkled in subtle advertisements in the narrative, describing the exact dresses and accessories available for sale online. For lower-class dolls like Kirsten and Addie, they already own their rag dolls that happen to look like them. For the wealthy dolls like Samantha, she desires a doll that looks like her and is described as expensive. The inclusion of this form of ownership may entice a young reader to beg for more dolls, clothing, accessories, while also persuading adult guardians to find value in purchasing a doll that closely resembles their child. These books provide the notorious history lesson American Girl has prided itself on, while creating an emotional connection between the doll and her owner. If a consumer reads the story of the doll she owns, she is most likely going to feel more attached to her and perhaps want to emulate her, rather than just stare at her on a shelf." Aside from American Girl's wide selection of accessories and outfits to go with a child's doll are the experiences offered, particularly those exclusively offered at American Girl stores. An example of this are their doll hair salons. The doll-exclusive salons allow children's beloved dolls to receive special treatment. This special treatment offered can include a face and limb scrubbing, nail decals, faux cucumber stickers, a faux face mask, a salon cape, a headband, and a sheet describing to the doll's owner how to maintain the doll's hair until the next visit. Deanda et al. Describes how the company creates an authentic play experience in store by situating the salon as a playground where girls can bring their dolls to receive these treatments. The authenticating experience mothers and daughters experience in the doll salon mirrors the female socialization that occurs in adult hair salons. American Girl's luxury prices create a divide between the upper class and lower class individuals and families. This can turn the dolls and their accessories into a status symbol, similar to porcelain dolls in the Victorian era. However, none of these products or experiences sold by the company is necessarily a flaw. Rather, it's purely a consequence in living in a capitalist society. In conclusion, while American Girl is a unique and important toy company, it's indubitably not without its flaws, such as its reinforcement of gender roles, its previous lack of representation, and its core capitalist principles. As Vaughn eloquently states, while the company attempts to provide a doll and a story that excites all girls, race and class will always be a barrier. Despite their flaws, American Girl is a beloved company that is nostalgic to thousands of people, and it seems they're genuinely invested in becoming more inclusive as times go on, as long as it continues to be profitable, of course. I forgot to record an outro for this video, so I'm just gonna do one now. Thank you so much for watching this video if you stayed until the end. I know it was pretty long. A lot of work went into it, so I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and take care of yourself, and bye!